Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself, Suprit, and this is your AEW Rampage review for September 3rd, 2021, joined by Abby. So, what you think about this Rampage show here before All Out? I thought it was good compared to the last two shows we had.
Agreed, absolutely. This was, uh, entertaining show. You cannot say that, in comparison to the first two shows of Rampage, it was, yes, a little down, but you can give them a pass this week because they are saving the good stuff for the pay-per-view that is this Sunday, and for us in India, Monday. So looking forward to the pay-per-view, All Out.
So, on that note, what are the matches that you are really invested in? Yes, I have to watch so and so match.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to CM Punk versus Darby Allin because of CM Punk, because I want to see that we were clamoring for the guy for 7 years, and yes, I am a huge fan of the guy, so I want to see him compete. And next, I want to see Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage, primarily for the fact that it would be a great match. The story, you could say, yes, it is not as much compelling. Yes, I agree that Kenny Omega wants to get one back, and they, you can say, upped our investment, so to speak, after what happened at the close of the show in this week's Dynamite. What they did was absolutely perfect, in my opinion. I wanted to see that side of the Elite or the Bullet Club for probably quite a while. So what they showed, I should say this.
Wait. You like the Dynamite segment, the final segment with the Elite?
Yes, because the beatdown was, you could say that it garnered the investment from the crowd. Yes, probably they hated it because it was a beatdown and stuff like that. But it was meant to garner hate and to garner the investment from the crowd, that the crowd wants the baby faces to win. Now the crowd wants the Lucha Bros and Christian Cage to win. So if the crowd now wants them to win, so what that segment did, mission accomplished. Did that happen, in your opinion?
If you checked out the Dynamite review, me and Ridwan had some opposite, point of views. Really, I get it. The way you said it, they were trying to do it, but really didn't feel it because we were trying to listen the crowd here, and the crowd kind of felt okay. They went quiet after the match. Like, what's happening here? What, should we react? Should be quiet? Should we be quiet? Like, what's going on here? So that was my take, and I kind of tried to rant about it on the Dynamite review. So little plug there. So yeah, that's that. But let's get back to Rampage here. Like we said, really good show. Let's talk about the card here. So we had Malakai Black versus Lee Johnson. We had Kris Statlander versus REEBA and Jamie Hayter. And in the main event, we had Daniel Garcia versus Darby Allin with CM Punk on commentary, and so much more. But before that, if you're new to Slamhub Wrestling, then make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Check out our other content. All links provided in the description below. So go check that out. So They kicked off with Malakai Black versus Lee Johnson. Like Mr. Black here is on the path to just destroy the entire Nightmare family. Like if it does even exist at this point. Like even Billy Gunn is off Nightmare family, I guess. God knows at this point. But for Mr. Lee Johnson here, he promised that it will be a quote unquote slow death. It will be a little different to what he has done to the Andersons and Cody Rhodes, and that's what we got here. So Malakai made his entrance, is getting a huge reaction, and obvious crowd favorite in Chicago. Lee Johnson is dressed up as Cody Rhodes. There you go. So
Yes.
this was, I could say, it was a slow pace match. Like Malakai, is grounding Johnson here. We did see some good wrestling from both guys here, but Malakai is looking like the dominant one here. So Johnson, he did get some offense. He hit a bunch of dives, like one of those tope suicida, which looked nasty. Kind of broke his leg on doing one of those dives. So Black was able to make a comeback, and he's really go hitting with those strikes, devastating strikes, and one of those was a insane looking PK. I thought Johnson died at this point. So Lee Johnson is dead on the mat. So Malachi Black, instead of finishing the match, he went outside, got a chair, and was kind of teasing to use the chair, but he handed it to Lee Johnson. So Johnson grabbed the chair, but he's on the verge of defeat here, just barely hanging in there. So Black hit him with a really sick looking, black mass, the spinning heel kick, and got him the victory here. So there you go, Malachi Black with yet another dominant win. So what you think about this presentation here for Rampage with the opening match?
Yes, I thought that it was an entertaining, match, and absolutely what they were. This was an, uh, you know, story-heavy match. It was storytelling. Of course, yes, Lee Johnson wanted to, get, revenge for Cody. His coach, his mentor, and Brock Anderson, Arn Anderson. So he wanted to get one back basically, and last we saw these guys interacting was that when Lee Johnson came to the aid of Brock Anderson and Arn Anderson at the end of the bout, which happened on Dynamite last week. So Malakai just bailed, and as you said in the Malakai said in his promo that a slow death, and I want to fight you, Lee Johnson, on my own terms, on my own time. So pretty much. And Lee Johnson, sporting the, Cody gear, so to speak, it speaks to the story involving Malakai Black and Cody Rhodes that yes, it is progressing, and yes, match would be happening in the near future. It is dark versus light, and the light is represented right now by the Cody faction, Nightmare family. Uh, right now, at the end of the bout, when you saw that Malakai Black gave him the chair, him being Lee Johnson, he was basically, recruiting him to the dark side. He was, some could say that he was recruiting him to the House of Black. But, he took a little more time to decide that what he wanted to do, that was he wanting to take a dark route to get his revenge for his mentor, or was he wanting to get the victory and the revenge using fair means. So slight time he took, and Malachi Black took his head off with the spin heel kick, the black mass, and he took the victory, and that was basically it for the match and for the storytelling. That yes, it is progressing, and he is making a path of his own. That you know you couldn't stop the guy. You would need a hero, a guy who would represent the light. Right now, it seems that it would be Cody Rhodes. Last we saw him, he was contemplating retirement, but when he would be, you know, returning to the ring, then he would be taking his revenge, and probably that would uh, probably end this story when Cody Rhodes would finally get one up on Malakai Black, and the score would be one apiece. Nobody would, in the eyes of the IWC, in my opinion, would get buried. But you know, with
So,
regards to storytelling, it would be light winning against the dark.
so you want when this eventual match happens between Cody and Malakai, so you're saying that there is no problem in Malakai taking one loss against Cody.
I guess not. But yes, obviously, it would be in such a competitive match and in such competitive fashion. It could be via roll up. It could be in some sort of way that it wouldn't hurt Malakai Black one bit. It wouldn't lower his stock one bit. This match, whenever it happens, we don't know. It would be happening sometime a few weeks from now, or a month from now, or two. Whenever it finally happens, whenever they want to, you know, uh, close the story, or whatever they are planning towards, and yes, we would see it. So I would not have the problem, because the fact is that if you are giving a story of light versus dark, then probably you would expect that the light wins in the second coming, and then if both the guys have one apiece victories, no, you cannot give the proclamation that a guy got buried or something like that, and both the guys go away from the story looking great, and also the fans being invested in both the guys, that they gave a great story, they got invested, and they gave a great match. So there's that. If they want a third match, it could happen down the line. And the third, whenever it happens or it does not, probably it won't. If it does, then I would expect that Malakai Black would be winning the match.
If it was to me, Malakai Black should have somewhat of a undefeated streak.
I would expect that too. So they can do this, Cody Rhodes match probably somewhere, down the line, or they could do somewhat of, a thing that, he turns heel. Cody Rhodes turns heel, after losing to Malakai Black, then that immediately turns Cody into another program, that he goes straight into another phase, that he can fight Dustin, or he can fight someone else in his faction. It can transition into that, when he gets frustrated, and he gets hard eyed to the fact that you know you faction members aren't any good and stuff like that. What have I taught you, and what the fuck have I mentored you? You are no good. So it is best that I detach from you guys, and your failures are just sticking in my fucking aura.
Makes sense, right?
you know
It makes sense that he goes heel because the fans at this point are not caring for Cody Rhodes.
yes, and we also talked about this, that when he comes back from the reality shows, he would turn heel. Let's see, what path they take regarding his story and his character. But yes, it needs, as you said, it needs to be revitalized, because right now fans are not caring one bit regarding
So
Cody.
after we had a little post-match bit where Dustin Rhodes came out to kind of chase out Malakai Black here. So this is somewhat of sets up a match for next week. As we know, we also heard from Dustin Rhodes that, and he cut a very fiery promo on Malakai Black, saying that he will show somewhat of the evil side of his own. So we are having this match on Dynamite. So kind of progressing the story here, and before
Yes.
Cody Rhodes eventually comes back.
Yes.
Let's see where this goes. But moving on, we had the TNT champion MIRO for a special promo segment here. So he's basically talking about Eddie Kingston here, and took a shot at him, basically saying that something like he's a bad boy or bag boy, something like that for John Moxley. I don't know what's the real phrasing here.
Yes, bag boy. Basically, he carries his bags. Basically, a young boy.
So Miro is doing all that, and then this leads to Eddie Kingston coming out. He got a huge reaction from the Chicago faithfuls, and he's going firing at Miro here, and he actually insults Miro for and the way he talks about the quote unquote God, and called him a ugly looking god. And Kingston was not backing down here, going full on with this fiery promo, and even called Miro, if you call yourself the Redeemer, then he said, Redeemer, redeem these nuts. So that got a huge pop from the crowd, and basically it was trending on Twitter. So there you go. So we saw somewhat of a brawl between him and Miro, but Miro escaped. So Kingston went after Miro, but Miro took the TNT title and took a shot at Kingston here. So in the ring, Miro was about to storm Kingston's head on the TNT belt, but Kingston escaped, and then he would go after Miro's neck, because this is the story here that they are trying to build up. It's because Miro's it's the kryptonite. It's that's his only weakness, the neck, injured neck, or the surgically repaired neck. So he goes for a DDT, and that's how this whole segment ended. For 1 or 2 weeks, this story is well built, I guess, and it's okay for a TNT title match for a pay-per-view. What you think?
I would say that promo exchange was good. It was not great. In the last week's Rampage review, also I said these two guys are gifted on the microphone, and they gave this opportunity. I am very happy that they give this opportunity to interact both the guys. But it wasn't in my point of view, uh, up to the level that I have, experienced those, both the guys, doing promos and, getting the crowd invested, in their, rivalries and stuff like that. But, nonetheless, at least now fans, care about, the bout. At least, you gave an interaction, face-to-face interaction. On Dynamite, it was just, one promo from the other side taped and the other side, taped. So at least now, you have built some tension, so to speak. And, with the challengers standing tall at the go home show, it also, adds to the, my, prediction, so to speak, that probably, Miro would be retaining at the pay-per-view. And I would also expect that, with such a weak build to the match, I would not want the guy to, lose the championship. It should have, fucking great, investment in the feud and the story, and then you have, a title change. So that makes for a moment, which the fans also, remember for the end of time. So, I expect that Miro retains at All Out, and title change happens uh, at Arthur Ashe in Queens, New York.
That's what they're trying to do as of now. Maybe that match happens at New York or not. You have to wait and see. But yeah, as of now, like even I did the predictions during the Dynamite review, Miro is definitely going over. And I think that's not that's not the only thing we may be getting at the pay-per-view. We may be getting a certain CJ Perry at the pay-per-view. 90 days are up. 90 days are up.
All right.
Has to be, right?
That
he has been referencing her in every one of those promos. So this has to lead towards them being a pairing here in AEW.
If it happens, it is great. We also talked about it at length in, months ago. I expect in one of the reviews of Dynamite that, Lana or CJ Perry, entering the AEW realm, how it would be it be great for Miro and stuff like that? Absolutely. If she enters, the AEW realm, it would be, great, seeing both the, people, it makes for a, package which, is good for the AIs, not, in that way. But the fact is that, yes, it also draws the crowd in, even when, you are not, giving, CJ the mic or, for being the mouthpiece for Miro. Miro can do, his shit on the mic for his own. But, adding her just for the aesthetic, perspective, it would only, add to the crowd's investment in Miro. And, they can do, all sorts of, shit that they want on screen to, pop the crowd. And, also, there can be various shenanigans involved during the match, in backstage promos, in pre-taped promos, etc., etc. So, it would be great if she enters, in the pay-per-view.
We'll have to wait and see. But like I said, for what they did, this TNT title program for leading towards the pay-per-view, it has been good. But I couldn't say the same thing for the women's bout at the pay-per-view between Baker and Statlander.
Agreed.
Like
Agreed.
even at least we had some interaction plus promo thing and at least some story to the TNT title bout. But the women's title bout, nothing much. Even from Britt Baker's side. Forget Statlander, even nothing much from Britt Baker's side.
I don't know, what the reason could be, is the reason the fact that Statlander is not, good on the microphone. I'm not, aware of that. But, I know, her gimmick and, doing the boop, and maybe, they probably, they have done quite a bit of shit pre-lockdown. So probably they are out of material because, I saw the show Countdown to All Out. There was a clip which pertained to the time which was pre-lockdown. Probably, some matches, uh, some match happened between Britt Baker and Kris Statlander. Uh, Probably it happened, or probably it didn't, manifested due to some odd reason. I do not remember at this point, but probably they did promos, they did some interactions, and probably right now they are all out. Pun not intended, but probably they are all out of material, and now they just don't give a flying fuck. They are just thinking of it as a token championship match, that yes, Britt, you just have to defend your championship, just go out there, defend your championship, and just, go forward. Nothing of the sort, because we do not have enough TV time to, inculcate your story with Kris Statlander. We have enough shit going through, and we can give enough buy rates from the other guys. So you do not need to do any of the, more stuff to get the people involved, invested in your match. This match, what happened, handicap match. I would say, I have seen this, before. She did this once before too. Probably it was with another competitor, handicap match, and when she was involved, not Jamie Hayter, she teamed up with Rebel against her opponent, who was facing her at the pay-per-view. I do not remember who she was at this point. Probably it was Shida, I guess. Uh, this was basically to weaken Kris Statlander for the pay-per-view. And, as Britt Baker would be retaining on the pay-per-view, so Kris Statlander would, be saved, so to speak. That yes, she was weakened at uh, the Go Home Show Rampage. So yes, she, lost the match as she was weakened. The numbers game, pulled heavy on her. So the babyface, won't get buried, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably what they are going for. Yes, it is easy. It is not very creative, so to speak. And, promos, they could have, added, to get the crowd invested, but, they didn't, give a flying fuck regarding that. And even in the show that is Countdown to All Out, nothing, absolutely nothing.
But let's talk about the highlights for this handicap match. So this was Kris Statlander. So She was facing REEBA and Jamie Hayter. So yeah, they were accompanied by Dr. Britt Baker, TMD. So this match was just there. Like the crowd was mostly dead for this match. Of course, the heels were most of the parts trying to ground Kris Statlander here. But there was one spot where we would see, I think it was Statlander. She had someone in the military plus as a position. Then she picked up Jamie Hayter in a power slam at the same time, and crowd woke up for this one, and we got a holy shit chant here. Like this was the only part where crowd really got invested here. So Jamie Hatter is taken out the equation. This left REEBA and Statlander in the ring. So Statlander got somewhat of a stretch muffler, a modified version here on REEBA for a tap out victory, and that was basically it. There you go. Statlander, quote unquote, building some momentum before the big title match at the pay-per-view, and nothing much.
Great.
But now that we will be getting that title match, Statlander, she has to pull out a breakout performance.
Agreed, absolutely. Yes, if she wants to put herself over, and yes, to make her mark on the card, which is laden with plethora of matches which could be show stealers, probably majority of them. So yes, absolutely, they would want to. I do not know if both the competitors would be going out there to do that. It is a mindset to tell a story in the ring. So what would be their mindset? That is up to both of them. Having a great match filled with holy shit chants and spots and stuff like that, or tell a story, get the fans invested. Crowd is chanting for one and booing the other. That makes for a great match, in my opinion. The second one is a little more which sets in the minds of the crowd for a long time. The match which has the spots, has the moves, it gets to the fans, it pops the crowd. It is for a purpose agreed on the card, but it settles in the mind of a crowd for a short period of time. It is
That's
up
true.
to them.
That's true. But let's wait and
It's
see.
up to them.
Let's wait and see. But we had a what is this? A interview segment. This usual thing that they do before the main event with Mark Henry involved. So he's interviewing both Dani Garcia and Darby Allin and got their thoughts before the big match. And we get to the main event here. So this was Daniel Garcia. So, but before we get to the match, so CM Punk was on commentary, made his big entrance, and he jumped to the crowd, kind of, barely got in there. And while this is going on, some dude handed a beer for Mr. Punk. I don't know what was the mentality here, but that happened.
He was drunk. And he was just offering him like a bro, have a drink, have a sip, bro.
So that's what you notice when we go to a packed wrestling show then. Okay. Anyways, Daniel Garcia versus Darby Allin. This was their second meeting. I think we did see one match, I think just few weeks ago on Dynamite. And this is their second meeting here. Of course, the story is that Daniel Garcia really wants to what should I call it? A weaken or damage Darby Allin before this big match at the pay-per-view. So go on.
It was just that he and 2.0 wanted to ruin this match. They Punk and Darby Allin, they just wanted that fucking this doesn't happen, and they wanted to make a statement through that, doing that, make a mark, on the wrestling world. If you ruin this match, it doesn't happen on the pay-per-view. You are you transcend the publications.
But boy, the stock of both Daniel Garcia and 2.0 are rising week by week.
Agreed.
But this match, it was a good TV match, not a technical wrestling, because we know Daniel Garcia is really good at it. Like there was one spot in the outside where on one hand, Sting is taking out 2.0 by himself, and we see Darby Allin. So he was charging towards Garcia near the announcer's desk or some table area, but Daniel Garcia missed, and Darby Allin went crashing onto the table and landed awkwardly through the barricade. Like that was insane to watch. While basically these two are just killing each other here, and at one point Darby Allin was kind of targeting the arm of Garcia, even bashing it towards the steps. So there was one spot where Darby Allin pulled off a classic CM Punk move, which he calls it the Pepsi twist. This is a OG Ring of Honor move. So we get to the end parts here, a lot of transitions, and Darby Allin locks in the mousetrap for a surprise victory, and that's about it. Really good match here. And by the way, the commentary was also entertaining. Like there, if I was watching a commentary on AEW Dark with Taz involved, so I wanted to add that. So match was really good, really entertaining. And what you think about it?
I also thought that it was a entertaining match, and the end point, or you could say the sell point, was basically, yes, pay-per-view match, Darby Allin versus CM Punk. So you want the crowd to be focused on that, and yes, to buy the pay-per-view, saying that it is the biggest pay-per-view of AEW ever, and you want to watch this match and stuff like that, and throughout making the fans care about the match on the pay-per-view. So I guess mission accomplished, so to speak. What happened on Dynamite, I guess it was a little lackluster. I guess what the segment happened, involving Sting and Darby Allin and CM Punk, a little lackluster. Regarding CM Punk, it felt a little lackluster to me. I wanted, probably, something more to it. I do not know something. But speaking of this match, Garcia has right now, has become one of the hottest commodities on the independent scene, and now he is competing on AEW as well. He is competing in various matches on the independent scene, and guys against Josh Alexander and many other guys, and having exceptional matches. And probably there is a rumor that possibly Josh Alexander has signed with All Elite Wrestling. So, and
Whoa. Where did you hear this from?
I have, I got it from various places. His Instagram, he has not, given it, straight up, on a silver platter anywhere. But, he has signed with a major, wrestling company who, is giving enough pay that you do not have to have a side job in order to pay your bills and stuff like that. So it could either be WWE or AEW, because he was working with Impact Wrestling and the independent scene for quite a while. He was previously, I guess, with the BCW, Border City Wrestling, and if I'm not wrong, uh, previously when he was spotted by Impact Wrestling. And probably if he is coming to All Elite Wrestling, there is a big chance that he could be involved with Men of the Year, and they could form a trio. And then we are also hearing about the trios title coming in, so they could be huge contenders for that. And Ethan Page and Josh Alexander were tag team champions of Impact Wrestling in the past, and so there is a history there. So it could happen. And there was also a photo which uh, he posted on, I guess, Instagram. I guess it was yesterday, him being Josh Alexander. It had a text uh, uh, on the top right, and it was it was cut in the middle, and last 3 or 4 letters were visible, and it had CAGO. So I guess he was in Chicago and he was being filmed for some stuff. So Chicago, what is happening in Chicago at this point?
All Out.
Which promotion is there?
AEW.
So it gives you this thing that I guess 99%, I guess he is signed with All Elite Wrestling, and huge congratulations to him.
Didn't he? Wasn't he in a big contract with Impact? A long-term contract?
Yes, probably it has expired, or it is expiring. Just in days, I guess. So probably he has signed with them, and he would be, joining them in coming weeks, I would expect. And where was he spotted? Probably he was spotted, sometime in the independent scene or some show where Impact and AW were, having a show together, or probably where at, I don't know if he competed at PWG, the recent show which happened, whatever the whatever the fuck. But he's a guy hugely talented, and all the best to the guy wherever he.
Let's see if the story comes true or not. But we were talking about this thing with Darby Allin and CM Punk. So once Darby Allin got the victory, so of course the 2.0 members and Garcia jumped Alin again, and Sting was trying his best to chase out all the heels, but CM Punk, this forced him to get off commentary and make his way towards the ring. Sting was able to take down all the he was able to chase out Daniel Garcia. So 2.0 was kind of trying to square off against Punk, but they decided to leave. But Daniel Bryan, Darby Allin, so he hit an insane tope on both the 2.0 members, and went straight into the face of CM Punk. We got a face-to-face here, and that's how the show went off the air. Really, if there's one match that you really should be excited for, it is this, hands down. Like Ridwan said it best, like they are selling it on the name value alone.
Yes. Agreed. They also, it is also evident from the fact that how, heavily they were, putting over the name, CM Punk on Dynamite itself. The first match was into play and they were, spitting out the name CM Punk, multiple times. And they should do that, at this point, because they want, the news to be out and about as far as possible that CM Punk is back in wrestling and he is competing on All Elite Wrestling, not in WWE, because the fact is that right now all over the world people know of professional wrestling and they straight up know that it is WWE. So probably many people, someone said, I do not know how much of it is, real, or probably how much of it happened or not. But when, it was announced that CM Punk is back and something like that, people, one of the, tweets that read that it was that probably many people, tuned into SmackDown to watch CM Punk. And SmackDown got a 3 million rating post SummerSlam. It was also, due to Brock Lesnar and, Becky Lynch given to that as well. But probably many casual fans who are unaware of All Elite Wrestling and unaware of, the product. So probably they tuned into Fox Sports and, SmackDown Live to see CM Punk, because they do not know that, probably CM Punk came back to SmackDown and Fox. So probably that could be one of the reasons of such a high, rating. Could be. I'm not saying, it is. So they are wanting to get the word out as much as possible that CM Punk is on All Elite Wrestling. CM Punk is, appearing on Dynamite, on Rampage, and you can watch him on, Fight TV, on TNT, on Eurosports, and Discovery app, and blah blah blah, whatever. So they want the word to be out, basically.
So there you go, man. There you go. That was a Rampage. And by the way, forgot to mention the cancelled match between Andrade, Lidl, and Park that should have happened at the pay-per-view. It is happening on next week's Rampage. So the Chicago faithfuls were little disappointed that it's not happening in their city. But anyways, we are getting that match next week. So there you go.
Yes.
So before we leave, Abby, where can these guys find you?
As you can, connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at abbymaniac. That's about it.
And you can find Slamhub Wrestling on Twitter at SlamHubW, Instagram at Slamhub Wrestling, and you can catch this review on Anchor and Spotify as well. This was the AEW Rampage review, and we'll see you guys next time.